Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking another look here at Waves. Got a lot of requests from this one here recently, and I can see why it's up somewhere in the range of 40% today. Now it makes sense considering how well or how low it's been pushed. Of course, it's at this breaking point where it had to kind of respond. But on the same accord, we want to kind of look and see what's going to happen possibly either next with some key level resistances and supports, but also to identify Fibonacci retracement levels. So hopefully you can learn something here today. My goal is to help you become a better trader. So I hope that you can effectively become better as a result of watching my videos. If you want a more specific, in-depth scenario, I would recommend checking out my Trading Academy, where I actually show you how to become a better trader pretty much every step of the way. Things that I do to inevitably help you just become more consistent. I've had a lot of great results, and thank you so much to all my current community members for being active, amazing members, because we do have a signal group, Trading Academy, and community where we all learn and grow together. In fact, we have a roundtable discussion here today that we're going to talk about the state of Bitcoin and kind of get to the bottom of it. That being said, though, check that out. CryptoCache.tech, again, is the site. Link description below, and be happy to get to know you better. While that's all well and good, let's go ahead and take a look here at Waves. Now, Waves is essentially an interesting situation. In other words, what it is it's telling us here that it wants to try to break away from this lowest price point. Obviously, we see a lot of that today. Keep in mind, traditional markets are up by roughly 3%. And that's a very huge deal when you have a gap up 3% or more over the weekend. Okay, so nice holiday weekend there. We see a nice trading Monday here, or feels like a Monday, it's a Tuesday. And essentially one of those things where we can see that the price action is doing very well. Okay, so this one is absolutely pushing a lot harder than most other coins. And what we want to do is kind of identify a few things. First of all, the support level I drew out was previous support range. In other words, it's not specific, but if you look back here, you can see that there was a point in which the price action rejected out here as resistance, came back up to retest it as a support and continue higher. Those are really strong support and resistance levels, the ones that have kind of played both sides of the field. Okay, so that's essentially what we're looking at there. And obviously we saw here back in January when it hit its all-time low, or at least its all-time low for that time frame, we can see, of course, the price action kind of averaged itself out right there. So $8.80, I would say, is a really close approximate. Let's double check. Or $8.90 more specifically. $8.90 is a key level resistance. So keep in mind, the price comes up, we could very well see some rejection at $8.90. So a good profit target would be $8.85, $8.88, something below that level to ensure you can take profits. Okay, that's the kind of concept that I like to drive home. So taking a look at some of the other standard stuff, we're back up over 50 in the RSI. That's typically a good sign. Keep in mind this daily candlestick hasn't closed yet, so that's not official. But just say we were to close at the current price point or higher, that'd be a good confirmation to let us know that, hey, we're back up over that support level or that resistance, and we could very well see a price action continue higher. You saw the same thing happen back here as well, where price broke above 50 on the RSI, and then it continued higher, candle wicks up and down for some time until it lost that momentum. Okay, so again, there's no guarantees it's going to continue forever, but there is a good strong chance that we get a good close here today. The price will continue at least to test that recent Fibonacci retracement level of about 890. Okay, so again, something to think about. All right, also taking a look at the 50-day SMA, you can see that's kind of trending right there at about 750. Could be another resistance level, so I'd be surprised if we see the price just kind of push through right now. I would hope that the price could just kind of close where it's at, and then tomorrow, after a nice brief period of consolidation, leg up from there. That'd be the best way to go. Because again, we want staircase patterns when we have an increase, something that looks kind of like this, instead of a parabolic, because parabolic increases come down parabolically as well. All right, so take a look here at this here, the MACD convergence. We got a nice MACD convergence here today, confirming the bulls are in control. Okay, so that's a good sign. That's kind of reiterating some obvious stuff that we can see already. So the daily looks pretty good here. The 4-hour also looks pretty good, except for the fact that this is a lot of movement in a short amount of time. Now, most Bitcoin did the same thing as well. It went up a good 3, 4, 5% in that short amount of time as well. So no surprise as to why Waves is doing well today. But what we want to look at is a few other things too, and we haven't touched on this yet, but the volume needs to continue to maintain itself in order for the price action to come higher. In other words, if we look at the volume here, of course, you can see back here when the price action was doing really well, we had an increased amount of volume. I mean, I know that kind of seems redundant, of course, obviously, there's going to be more volume if the price is going up, but that just really implies too also that there's less selling pressure at the moment, which is a good sign. It really just implies that we're not going to have a tremendous amount of selling pressure yet. We haven't hit that selling pressure level. In other words, you can see right here where the price action comes up and the volume starts to spike. Once the volume starts to spike, that's when we start hitting these key level resistances. So generally speaking, we don't have that tremendous spike. Yes, we kind of did in this last candle, but it's not terrible, and it's right there at that Fibonacci retracement level. It kind of feels comfortable. So again, looking okay here. This is the thing I would urge caution on here. Maybe consider taking some profit, because there is potential for the price to come back down lower due to the fact that RSI is well over 70. When the RSI is over 70, traditionally speaking, it's going to come down. You can see that happened last time as well. We could be on the verge here also. Because again, we're expecting Bitcoin to come lower in price overall in the next couple of months, while it probably won't happen right away. That same sentiment applies here. We could get the price action to continue to progress higher and then perhaps inevitably come back down. I'm not trying to, concern you or say it's not going to continue higher. Just know that the likelihood of it coming down lower from here with the RSI being so overextended is fairly high, right? So again, we're kind of almost overextended, but we're not quite, because technically, you look at TD sequential, we were at like a 4 here, for example, where we could literally see 5 more 4-hour candlesticks, 20 hours worth of continuation of the upside. That's still a probability. Again, a lot of this depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin corrects itself hard in the near future, drops down to 20, 18, 19,000, that range there, we're going to see a correction from waves. So just make sure you understand there's a correlation. And right now, waves is essentially 5 to 8x of Bitcoin for the moment. Okay, so it's definitely outperforming. So again, that could also imply, too, keep this in mind, fundamentals catalyst, right? Those are things you always want to do your own research on. I don't do that type of research because I'm not investing in this coin. But if you are to, obviously do your own and make sure you understand specifically what's going on and why the price action is shooting up the way that it is. It could just be that inevitability of the price being held down for so long. We have a nice green day in the market and it's coming alive. Could also be some kind of fundamental catalyst causing this to happen. Again, that does happen sometimes. So just keep that in mind. There's some things we may not be seeing here. But if we take a look at the volume here, or more so the sequence of numbers here, we can see we came up to a 9 on TD sequential. Didn't get a full-on reset, but we kind of did, right? So we got about 4 hours of consolidation at this level, and then the price legs up again. So even though we didn't get a full-on reset here, this is still a very comfortable type of transition to me, where it doesn't really imply that we're going to see the price action just shoot straight down. It does imply that we have enough consolidation here to have a potential for the price action to continue at least sideways at the price point of $7, and then a potential leg up again to try to retest some of these levels. Okay, so what we are hoping for here is no more legs up. We want legs sideways and up, if that makes any sense. A nice brief, a little bit longer of a period of consolidation before we leg up again. But as you can see, it's just kind of working its way up these levels, up here. It's just a matter of time before it comes up into a retest somewhere in the 780 range, and then possibly 880, 890. Okay, but again, looking pretty good there in that sense. I just don't love how high that is and how short amount of a time. Those things concern me, and I prefer not to deal with that, or I don't like to get in at the top, if that makes sense. I like confirmation. The confirmation that we're seeing here, of course, is that you want to keep your trade open if you have a long position available. And you're in a long position right now, keep it open, all good. But just know that this is a bit on the overextended side, and it's a hair trigger. If Bitcoin does correct itself by just say a small margin, 3 or 4%, then we could see a very strong correction from waves. Just keep that in mind. All right, so that's kind of where we're at here for this coin. All in all, looking pretty good. It does look like it wants to continue higher. I just wouldn't expect that in the immediate future. 24-hour period of consolidation, we should be good to go, and the price should continue higher. Granted, Bitcoin behaves this week, all right? Now, when I see him behave, all we need is sideways action from Bitcoin for coins like this to continue to flourish. We're not going to see that if Bitcoin struggles. All right. I know, again, another redundant statement, but it has to be said because some folks don't know that. All right, so thanks again for joining me here. Hope you did learn something, of course. It was a good learning experience. If you want to learn a lot more specific and detailed content is within my private community. CryptoCache.tech is a link in the description below. Check that out in your own time. I do look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for your time.